A wise man once said that people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and then their habits decide their futures. But here's a challenge. Building new habits or starting new things isn't always fun, making it really easy to give up, especially in a world where we have a million distractions at our fingertips. Learning the guitar is fun until you suddenly have the urge to play video games. Executing on a new business idea is fun until you find yourself in the comparison trap with entrepreneurs like Alex Hormozi or Naval Ravikant. And learning how to create content can be fun until you find yourself in a doom scroll on Instagram, watching sports highlight reels or hilarious dog videos. And don't even get me started on the habits in health and wellness, because even though we know a habit is good for us, doesn't mean it's going to be something fun. So how can we make new challenges, new ventures, new lifestyle changes fun so that staying on track can become seamless and enjoyable? That's exactly what we're going to dive into today. Because if we continue living our life in a way where we're constantly distracted, we'll never accomplish anything meaningful. We'll always feel stuck and confused, wondering why we can never make progress. And worst of all, we'll never truly realize our potential, which to me makes for a deathbed full of regrets. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a 5-step process that helped me overcome these problems and my clients, and also how it has helped me achieve goals that I never thought were possible. And if you really want to get the most out of this video, make sure to stay until the end, because I'm going to share with you a process on dealing with burnout. I want you to be in this for the long game, and I also want you to create a life story that is meaningful. But first, let me tell you a quick story about my childhood. So growing up, I was a lonely kid. I have 4 older sisters, but the age gap between me and the youngest of those 4 sisters is 6 years. So I wasn't really close to my siblings. I didn't necessarily have siblings to play with. And around 7 or 8 years old, my parents divorced. And before my parents got divorced, I was living in the suburbs, meaning that I had neighbors to play with, to ride bikes with, to go to the park with. But when they did end up divorcing, my mom moved us out into the country where there were no neighbors. It was 83 acres of land. During this chapter of my life, I was really lonely. And the only thing that really helped me cope with this is video games. I still remember the very first console that I got for Christmas. It was a PlayStation, and I was so geeked out for it. I loved it so much because it gave me something to challenge myself with. It gave me a game to play. It gave me other friends to play the game with, and to not feel so disconnected from the world while I was out here in the country. Fast forward about 10 years, and you could say that I played a lot of video games in my life. I was very much addicted to Call of Duty. And I can sadly remember that on each Call of Duty, I had over a month worth of time played. So I played a lot of video games. We'll just put it at that. Later in life, in my 20s, I found a lot of shame in that. I felt shameful that I spent all my childhood playing video games, until I reached an age fairly recently that I realized how beneficial that was for me both then and now. Because if we think about it, we're all playing a game called life. Whatever game we really choose to play is a certain game mode that we're choosing to play. So if you're going into the design world, you're playing that game. If you're going into the finance world, you're playing a different game mode. Or if you're going into entrepreneurship, then you're playing a game mode that has a bunch of mini game modes within it. One of the main things that I loved about gaming is the competitive nature behind it. Feeling like I could get better and better and better, win games. Like, it was just fun to me as a kid. So how do we take the concept of gaming and apply it to life? The first step is to understand the rules of the game in which you're trying to play. Don't focus on the game modes in life that don't matter. Focus on the games that matter to you, because the rest are just distractions. They're a waste of time. The more that you focus on the game mode that you want to play, the better chances you are going to make progress in it. But we must understand that every game has its own set of rules, meaning that we have to understand those rules and understand the boundaries of those rules in order to play the game. And here's the thing, you can break the rules in whatever game you're trying to play, but you have to understand the rules first. And then once you get to a point where you feel like you have a solid understanding of the game, close your eyes, I'll do it with you, and imagine yourself reaching the top of that mountain, actually getting good at that game. Imagine yourself understanding the game so well that you are the best version of yourself at that game. Imagine what it'll feel like to become great at it, and use that emotion that you feel to validate, one, the fact that you want to play this game, and two, the fact that you can reach your goal. This is the power of delayed gratification, but you don't want to postpone that feeling completely until you reach the top of the mountain. What do I mean by this? If you've ever played Crash Bandicoot, then you know that each level is fairly long. It's going to take you a while to reach the finish line of that level. But if you can create many checkpoints along the way, many milestones, many challenges, don't worry about hitting the top of the mountain, because that's going to keep you stuck. You're going to overwhelm yourself. Instead, focus on the mini checkpoints and get yourself slowly to your goal, which is the top of the mountain. The second step of the process is to make the process fun. Why do you play video games? Why have you ever played video games? Because it's fun. So you want to constantly measure the challenge to your skills. You want the challenge to be just a little bit above your skill level, because if it's too far above your skill level, it's no longer fun. If you step into a new game and you play against somebody who's been playing the game for 10 years, you're not going to have fun playing against them, because they're just going to smash you to death. It's going to feel impossible to win, making it not fun to play. But the golden question here is, if it were fun, what would it look like? And don't go into a new game with such high expectations of yourself. Just go into it with this adventurous, spontaneous exploration kind of vibe and just have fun with it. You don't want to go into Grand Theft Auto and immediately hop into missions. You just want to free roam. You want to rob somebody's car and cause mayhem and just see what is possible inside the video game. Once you have an understanding of how the game works, then you can start playing these different game modes, these different missions. Do I like doing car races more than robbing banks? But give yourself the room to just explore the map, to explore new territory. You might remember that when you first started the game and you pressed start and you looked at the map, there was nothing on the map. You couldn't see where the gun shops were. You couldn't see where you could get a haircut. You couldn't see where the clubs were. You couldn't see any missions until you got in a car and drove through the territory and just roamed around the entire world of Grand Theft Auto. The same thing applies here. You have to explore the new territory with a free spirit, with an open mind, in order to see what games are available in those areas. I was sharing this concept with a coaching client, and I just remember her feeling so relieved by all of the pressure that she was feeling on all of the tasks that she was wanting to do and all the goals that she was setting for herself. Once she was able to see this as a game, it started to become fun. So I hope that it's doing the same for you. And if it is, go ahead and leave a like. Now, the third step of the process is to start tracking and lean on systems to help you make progress. When I say tracking, I'm not asking you to track for the rest of your life, but especially when you're starting something new, when you're playing a new game, it's so beneficial to start tracking how much time you're putting in, what you're eating, what you're forgetting to eat, how much weight you're lifting, because it gives you clues of how you can improve. I mean, this is why it's so beneficial to use apps like MyFitnessPal when you're first starting to take the gym very seriously, whether it's losing weight or gaining muscle or both, because it allows you to track your diet. And when you track your diet, you get to see how many calories you intake, how much macros you're eating, how much protein, fats, and carbs you're eating, and if whether or not you need to add or reduce. An app like Shred, which is just proper workouts that will help you gain muscle. When you go into the gym, you can track and you can say, I'm starting my workout now, and this is the time that I end. And when you have that data over the course of days, weeks, months, you can really see valuable evidence that will help you make shifts or double down on something that is working, or to just straight up stop doing something that isn't working. So bring that competitive energy that you feel inside video games over to your tracking, over to your systems, because this is where things start to get even more fun. You start seeing like 1 pound increment in your goal, and you're like, yes, it's working, it's working, it's working. Or if you're not seeing that, you can sit there and review your data and be like, okay, I need to do this. I need to maybe take this attachment off this gun. Maybe if I use this perk, it'll help me capture the flag quicker. If maybe I use this other kill streak, it'll help me get more kills, or whatever they were called, the things that when you reach like 7 kills, you get like a helicopter or something. This is how you track your progress in life and gamify it. But a good rule of thumb is that anytime you feel like you're in a slump, just track. Because I guarantee you tracking is going to give you the answers that you're looking for. And by the way, if you are looking for a habit tracker or something to help you with systems, I would love for you to check out my new Notion template, the Dreamflow operating system. Everything inside of this Notion template is there to help you build systems, to help you track your progress. There's literally a habit tracker in there, but there's also other things like tracking your creative process, reflecting on your weeks, seeing how things went, and what worked, what didn't. And if you're a creative business owner, this will literally help you manage everything under one roof, because I designed it for myself. I know that it works because I used it to solve all my problems, and I want you to enjoy it as well. So if you're interested in that, just go to the description below. I released it a few weeks ago, and so far the responses have been great. So go check it out. I think it'll really help you. But going back to the concept of systems, a couple questions that are great to keep in mind is, what does success look like? What do you need to do to consistently reach your goal? And how can you track it to increase your chances of success? And also a little pro tip, whenever you are embarking on this new journey, this new game, there's going to be moments where you feel negative feelings. You're going to feel like, maybe this isn't for me. I don't know if I'm going to do it because I'm afraid of what people will think of me. You're going to have this voice in your mind that's just full of discomfort and trying to talk you out of doing so. And my suggestion is that when you do feel these feelings, postpone the processing of those feelings to a moment where you can journal and reflect on it. But while you're executing your systems, while you're in the process, don't listen to those negative feelings. Just push past them. Tell yourself, I'm going to process that later. If you need to, grab a sticky pad, write that feeling down, and journal about it when you have the time. But I'm going to sit here and beat a dead horse and remind you that if you're not having fun, then it ain't for you. So if you are having a ton of negative feelings throughout the process and it's just not working, play a different game mode. That's it. Now, the fourth step of the process is to focus on improving your skills. So in Call of Duty, there are two game modes. There's one called Headquarters and there's one called Search and Destroy. In Search and Destroy, you get one life, meaning that if you die, you have to wait until the next round to respawn. Whereas in Headquarters, you have the same exact spawn points as Search and Destroy, but if you die, you just respawn immediately. Now, if I were trying to get really good at Search and Destroy, which has more risk on the line because you have to wait until the round is over in order to respawn, then I would suggest going to play Headquarters, because playing Headquarters will help you understand the map. It'll help you understand how to rush and play the game better, and you can then take what you learn from Headquarters and apply it to Search and Destroy when you're ready. In a way, I feel like this applies to life. So for example, whenever I was first learning how to DJ and mix, I would record the mixes, but I would only record it for myself. I wouldn't put it out into the world. I would just record it to myself and play it back and critique it. Or another example could be if you're looking to create content and you've never done it before, just create the video and don't publish it. Make it for you. Or if we were to talk about a fitness example, instead of hopping into a new gym membership, because I know that that is one of the most intimidating things for people, just do push-ups at home. Whenever I started listening to my mixes back and they started to sound cohesive and like I could post it, then I started posting it. Get your practice in and then publish. And another way to improve your skills is to surround yourself with other people playing similar games. Going back to the Call of Duty example, back then I remember you could do glitches. There was a way to step outside of the map and like literally shoot people from underneath the map. It's just a glitch that somehow people figured out. The only way somebody could figure out how to do that glitch, that little trick, is not only to understand the game, but to be involved in a community that shares information. This is how you find best practices, how to deal with negativity, new game modes to try out. And while you're focusing on building skills, yes, look up people who are doing great at the game, but don't compare yourself to them. That is a waste of time. When it comes to the point that you're just stopping yourself from playing the game overall because you'll never reach that level, don't succumb to that. That is bullshit. You will definitely get as good as you want. It just depends how much effort you want to put in, because that grand champion or that person who's like 10th prestige and fucking killing the game started where you are right now at some point in their life. And if they listen to that voice, then you would not be watching their videos. Now, the fifth step of this process to gamifying your life and treating your life like a video game is to have a contingency plan whenever you start to feel burnout. In my opinion, I feel like everyone experiences burnout at some point, and that's why it's good to have side quests or hobbies, other game modes that you're willing to play. One thing that really helps me with staying consistent with content is playing basketball with the boys, mixing house music on the decks, cooking my meals, going to the gym with my best friend. These are all things that give me the contrast that when it comes time to talk on camera, I'm actually excited to talk on camera. And also I have life experience conversations with these people that help me apply those points that I make in these videos from experience. But at the very least, when you are feeling burnt out, and you will know it, you'll know when you're feeling burnt out, it's important to take a step back, to lift your chin up, close your eyes, and reflect. Take a look around, remind yourself what you're grateful for. Remind yourself of the progress that you've made, and take a pause, really soak that in, and don't worry about the next step just yet. So yes, systems are great for making progress, but we should also have a system for calming down and recentering ourselves. Because if we constantly overextend ourselves, we start to lose our true authentic nature, and it'll become obvious. So don't feel afraid to take a break when you need it. You deserve a vacation too. But when you give yourself enough space, you're able to come back with a fresh perspective and the energy that you need to take the next step. And that right there is exactly how I have learned to gamify my life, to make the process of growth more enjoyable, how it has also helped not just me, but my friends, my clients, and hopefully you. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and leave a like and comment down below what your favorite takeaway was. And also feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at AshtonTJoe. I would love to hear from you. I'm always looking to connect with you guys. Last but not least, go check out the DreamFlow operating system. I think it's a steal because it has solved so many problems for me. If you're interested in hearing about more of those problems that I've struggled with and have overcome, then I think you'll really like this video because I dive into all 7 of the problems that I dealt with on my journey to 1K and how I overcame them. Thank you so much for watching this video. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.